because when I do the article and I write like a big long list of everything, I've noticed that when it cross posts to Facebook and stuff, it looks really shit. And if you look at it on a phone, it looks really bad because it doesn't keep the formatting. It just blurs everything together. So I'm trying out a new thing where I'm just going to put like at the top, I'll put the main topic. So Chris and Colin talk this, that, and the other. And then I'll put the like, listen here, download here, blah, blah, blah links. And then afterwards, I'll put like news links, but I'm not going to try and like, I'm just going to say Japanese sell figures from Gear Nuke, Pokemon Go Community Day, watch this trailer, that sort of thing. So let's try it for a couple of weeks and see. I mean, if you think it looks bad or not good or whatever, just let me know. But
that's like easier. When I put it onto M4G as well, which is that website where you put articles on. When I copy the wording, sometimes when you copy the formatting over, it doesn't look great. So
that's a good idea. Still posting it there.
Every now and then I do. Sometimes it gets some traction, sometimes it doesn't. I think it depends what we're talking about.
The one where we did like the Vita is dead or whatever.
That must be about a year ago now. We did that one.
Yeah,
that surprised me when we did the whole like. We made that really great quality Photoshop saying you're invited to the funeral of the PlayStation Vita.
To the memorial.
We got
amazing.
And someone messaged us and was like, I don't really agree with you using the Lord's name in vain. Talking about the PlayStation Vita. Oh, good times. There's no such thing as bad publicity. It's all good. It's all good. All good. Well, hello there. Welcome to episode 225 of Heroes of Handheld, the world's premium podcast dedicated to everything handheld gaming. We like to talk about anything that's classed as a handheld gaming device. So that could be your mobile phone, your iPhone, your Android, your Ouya, your Nintendo Switch, your PSP, your DSi, your Game Boy Advance SP, your Game Boy Advance, or your Game Boy Color. I was very, very big fan of the Game Boy Advance SP. It was one of my favorite devices growing up. They should still make games for that little device. Good times. Good times. I've still got it now, and it must be about, what's it now, 2018. So it must have came out about 2005, 2004, maybe, that sort of time. So it's been in my possession for a very, very long time. That's almost 15 years, pretty much. And it still works, and it's still great. It's a bit like the old Nokia phones, you know, your 3410s or whatever they were called, where you charge it with battery and you've not used it in about 10 years, but you turn it on and it's still got the same amount of battery because it's like unlimited battery life. Oh, good times. I used to love playing the Crash Bandicoot games on there. Anyway, let's get on to some handheld stuff. Chris, hello. Chris is my co-host. Hi.
Hello. Game Boy Advance SP was released in 2003, Valentine's Day, February 14th in Japan. 2008, and you can get them on eBay for £200.
You can buy mine if you want it. I will do it for £195.
Yeah, people love that. I like the Game Boy Advance Micro. I got one of those from my friend before he went traveling, and that is a really nice bit of kit.
Game Boy Advance Micro. I feel we've spoken about this before.
Yeah.
I don't recognize this little thing.
Where is it?
Well, that is proper handheld gaming. There's a picture here of someone holding it, and it's literally handheld size.
I'll show you. Can you see? I know we've not got the cameras on today, have we?
Only two buttons. Well, 3 buttons.
It's tiny. It's like this. It's like 4 inches, and the screen is tiny, and it's very swazzy. Very swazzy.
Was it good? Was there a point to it?
Yeah, it's cool.
2005 was release date, so this was released after the Game Boy Advance SP. That's surprising. Yeah, because the predecessor, looking at Wikipedia, the predecessor was Game Boy Advance SP, and the successor was Nintendo DS. That's crazy.
It's funny, isn't it?
Shipped 2.42 million units as of March 2007. Discontinued in 2008. Came out in Europe in 2005. There you go. That slipped past me. I mean, if someone had said, "Can you name the timeline of Game Boy of Nintendo's handheld devices?" I would have gone from the SP to the Nintendo DS. I would not have said the Game Boy Micro. Surely it didn't do as well as the other ones. Just looking
I
at
don't know. Yeah, the anecdotally, I remember the SP being the one that everyone owned.
Looking at the Nintendo DS, which was the big upgrade in handheld gaming, which came out in 2005 over here, 2004 in Japan. That sold 154.02 million units worldwide. That's crazy. A lot of people had Nintendo DS. That I think didn't the whole Nintendogs craze come from Nintendo DS?
Yeah,
Is
that
that
was the
where that
first
all
one.
started?
Yeah, that was a launch game back
Nintendogs,
in the
good
day.
times. Oh, I miss those days. Things were a lot simpler back then. Anyway, Chris, let's talk about some handheld gaming. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. How are you?
Yeah, I'm
You all right?
okay. We missed last week because we were watching the semi-final, obviously,
Yeah.
which was as England fans, it was hard to watch. But
But yeah.
but cool to have got that far. And it was a nice moment. There was that brief time for about 60 minutes where it felt like it was coming home.
It was just nice to have positivity surrounding the England football team, because in the past, since I've been very young, it's always been so negative. Like, people like saying, "Oh, we're terrible, they're overpaid idiots," but it just felt like people were proud to be English because of
Yeah,
this World Cup. And like, there's a new sense of pride and a new sense of optimism going forward for future tournaments. So yeah, and it's a shame the French won, but there you go. What can you do? Anyway, let's move on.
yeah.
Let's talk about game. Can I quickly? I know this isn't on the agenda, and I know you don't like it when I go off the agenda, but I need to talk about the Insane trilogy, which I'm still playing on my Nintendo Switch, which I'm still very, very much obsessed with, and I'm just going to really reiterate what I said a couple of weeks ago when I started playing it, how the original Crash Bandicoot game is absolutely brutal. It is really, really hard. It's so much harder than the second and third ones. If you missed the last episode we did, I revealed that I've actually never, ever played the original Crash Bandicoot game. When I did play it, I started on the third one, and then I went back and played the second one. So I did it in a really weird order. But I don't know why, I just never thought about going back and playing the original Crash Bandicoot. And I know a lot of people have said this online anyway, but it does really, you can tell the difficulty spike in the original one is so brutal. It's borderline unfair. There's been a lot of rage quitting, but the sense of achievement when you actually complete a level is amazing. The worst ones, I mean, these are ones that have been shown on Facebook and Twitter and things like that, people doing speed runs, are those ones where you're running along a bridge and the bridge is falling apart and there's like pigs on the bridge and you've got to jump over turtles and things like that. The original one was called Road to Nowhere, and there's a second one that I played which was even harder. They are brutal, but I'm still chipping along. It sort of shows how hard it's been. Where I've been playing it. I'd say I played it a little bit most days since we last spoke, and I've still not finished the original one. I think I've got about a couple more levels to go because I'm now currently fighting. I've forgotten his name. Not Cortex. Who's his sidekick in the first one? The guy with the bolts in his head. Not Engine. What's his name? Like a bold guy, weird shaped head. No, Engine appeared in the second one. This was the guy from the first one. I can't remember his name. I'm going to Cortex sidekick. He was like a crazy little man with stupid teeth. So Cortex sidekick. Here we go. Oh, it's showing Engine. It's not Engine. Oh, I can't remember what his name is. Anyway, I'm fighting him at the moment. It's a boss battle. And yeah, it's tough. Gotta say, the boss battles are very difficult as well in the Crash Bandicoot one. It's very much like you're put straight when you have a boss battle, you're put straight in, and then it's just up to you to figure out what you have to do. Like, there's no guidance, no like obvious thing you have to do. So if you're not quick, you're gonna die instantly. You have to really think logically as to how you could defeat the different bosses. So I'm really much enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. Very frustrating, but I like the challenge. It's actually nice having a challenge in a game like this, where as I said, when you actually complete the level, you feel really, really massive sense of achievement. But yeah, hoping to get back to that, and then I'll get back on to playing Mario Tennis, which I've not played in a few weeks because that's taken a back burner at the moment. So yeah, that's what I've been playing. What have you been playing, Chris?
I'm
This week?
kind of the same. Mario Tennis, I thought I was going to be playing a lot more, but it's very much been on the back burner for me. Because until they fix the adventure mode things, it's just like frustrating. But I've been playing, I downloaded Fortnite for Switch. I got fed up of waiting for Sony to sort this shit out, and I started a new account.
Nice.
So I've been playing that, and I've enjoyed it quite a lot. It's certainly not as does not nearly run as smoothly as on the PlayStation 4, as one might expect, and the internet coding isn't as good. But the trade-off is that I find the player base is a lot more casual, and I think a lot more fun. And I feel like I've enjoyed the games a lot more because people are perhaps not quite as technically proficient as they are on the PS4 one. But the main game on Switch I've been playing that I wanted to talk about, Colin, is Pixel Junk Monsters 2, which I don't know if you've ever played a Pixel Junk Monsters game.
No,
for those who haven't, it's this kind of I don't want to get the culture wrong, but it's like Tiki themed. So you know there's like Tiki masks, kind of like the one he wears in Crash. Yeah, kind of like that. It's this tower defense game where you have a home base with 20 lives. You start on this big map, and you have to buy towers which will shoot down certain enemies as they come in. It's it's a kind of classic tower defense thing where you've got, you can pay more to have the more expensive weapons, or you can pay for ones that specifically will shoot aerial units, specifically will shoot ground units. Occasionally they'll change the path they come down, and it scuppers you because you're only built for one thing. And I played a lot of Pixel Junk Monsters 1 on PS3, and I think this is a really good upgrade. There are things wrong with it that they've said they said in a tweet that they're fixing. For example, the camera doesn't zoom out very tactically, which is annoying for a game where you want to be seeing the whole map all the time. And also you can play in co-op, but it's one of those ones where the person following you, if you go off screen, they just get like teleported to you, so it's a little bit annoying. But the actual gameplay is so sound and like feels so good and feels so satisfying. And a really interesting mechanic of it is you get rewarded for surviving every wave in terms of coins, but the coins you get back are a percentage based on how many you've got in the bank. So the less that you spend in a level on towers, the more money you'll have next time around.
Yeah.
And it keeps going up and up and up and up exponentially. So you have to kind of assess, well, should I, take a hit this round and rely on my luck a bit more so that next round I'll be able to afford the bigger items or whatever. And, as the game goes on, is like, you get very tactical about where you're positioning the towers, and certain things have certain range. So yeah, it's a really interesting game. I like it a lot. That's Pixel Junk Monsters 2. And it's fairly cheap as well. I can't quite remember what I paid. I think it was about 13-14 quid.
That's all right. Very strategic.
So, worth checking out.
Looking at the art style here,
there is a demo as well if you're interested.
Oh, demo memo, like it. I'm looking at the art style here. It's giving me vibes of Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare in the art style here. From the images I'm seeing,
sort of
colourful.
Yeah, I wouldn't really say that, but I think when you play top down, it doesn't feel like that. But anyway,
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, tower defense games is sort of a genre that I've never really fully explored, to be honest, apart from the odd internet games back in the day on like addictedgames.com and whatever the other websites were, miniclip.com. But if there's a demo for this, I'll definitely check this out. I'm willing to explore new horizons of games and try what titles potentially I wouldn't normally try. But so you paid for this game, so it's one that you have purchased, and you're not just on the demo. You're in. Oh, cool. How many JRPG thumbs up would you give out of 10?
10. No, probably
10
7.
JRPG thumbs up. 7. Yeah. That's pretty respectable.
Speaking of, can I segue? Because as we're doing JRPG thumbs up,
no.
An interesting news story this week is Octopath Traveler came out last Friday for Switch. And this is Square Enix's new game where there are 8 playable characters, each with their own stories that intersect with each other. And it's a kind of pixel art shaded game, but it's got really pretty graphics. There's demos out for that as well, which we should do as a demo memo at some point in case people missed it. But the physical version is apparently selling out in shops in Japan. Amazon now are back ordered for 2 to 3 weeks. And because Japan had a public holiday last weekend, it's meant that it's unavailable to buy in the shops, which is mad for a new Switch title. It's incredible. And there's sales figures out there saying 110,000 sales in Japan, which is really, really impressive numbers for a new Switch title. So yeah, this game is clearly doing very well. It has been received very well, I think.
Yeah, I mean that. You know what we could do, Chris? We could segue into another article with that.
Yeah, do it.
With sales figures, because Nintendo is dominating software sales in Japan. 11 exclusive titles in the top 20 for 2018. Who would have thought it, eh? Most people, to be honest. But do you want me to read the top 20 best-selling games so far in Japan? Of course you do. Of course you do. You know what? We're gonna miss out all the ones that aren't Nintendo. Let's just read the list from 20 to 1 where it's a Nintendo title. So 18, we've got Mario Tennis Aces. And considering that's not been out very long, that's pretty darn good, I would say. Also, Mario Party, the top 100. Is that a game that's out over here? The Mario Party game?
Yes, that's the 3DS one.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. That makes sense. This is a surprise one. Well, maybe not because it is Japan. Nintendo Labo Toy-Con Variety Kit 1. So Labo making an appearance there, and I think it's the only appearance in the top 20. Yeah, so that's at number 11 for top sales this year. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, that's in there as well. Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle. It's got a bit. The Pokemon games are in there as well. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, unsurprisingly. Super Mario Odyssey. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is number 4. Kirby Star Allies is number 3. Can you guess? There's only one more title that's Nintendo, and it's at number 2. Can you guess what it is for the 2018 top-selling Nintendo title 2018 so far in Japan? I'll give you
Splatoon.
Correct, Splatoon 2.
Yes.
There you go. That's number 2. But number 1, I think you'll be unsurprised because we knew this is popular. This is from Capcom. Monster Hunter World is number 1 there. But no, it's I guess it's an interesting article here, but I think Nintendo would most of the time dominate software sales in Japan, in my opinion, because, regardless of how strong the game is, with their big franchises that Mario and Donkey Kong and Zelda and things like that, Nintendo games just always seem to sell well in Japan anyway. But I mean, the biggest surprise to me is the Labo one there. It says Toy-Con 01. I'm just going to see which one that is. I will not. I'm not going to lie. I don't know much about Labo, to be honest with you. I don't know the different packs and things like that. So I don't know whether when you buy Labo, do you get everything? Do you get all the cardboard or cardboard cutouts, or do you just get the 1 or 2? Do you just get like the fishing rod, or do you get the fighter?
There are two different sets. So there's there's the set that has the robot, and then there's the set that has everything else.
Okay, so yeah, I've just found out here the one that's in the top 10, top 20 at number 11 is the one that includes the piano, the fishing rod, and the whatever that thing in the middle is. But the one that isn't the fighting one, basically. So yeah, that's cool. It's always good to hear when games are selling well, and especially when it's Nintendo, when a lot of them are handheld titles as well. I just want to quickly rewind. I was going to mention this. You said you played Fortnite on Switch. I also played it on Switch, and I actually really liked it. I completely agree with you. I found it a lot more accessible than on other platforms, but I thought it played pretty well. But I also played PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on mobile, finally. I downloaded the mobile version. And I was surprised. I've never played Pogba before. But I have to say, I was actually really impressed. Obviously, it's very, very similar to Fortnite, obviously. But it ran really smoothly. I found it quite easy to control, a lot easier to control than Fortnite. And my first ever game, I got to number 11, the 11th person alive. So I was pretty happy with that. Pretty happy with that. Considering I eventually died because I got stuck on the cliff, and the game world gets smaller and smaller. That's how I eventually died. So I didn't get killed by anyone. So I'll live with that. I'm happy with that.
So really, you've got an unbeaten streak.
I do. Yes, I do. I've not actually been killed in a game of Pugbo anymore yet, so I'm happy with that. And I'm also very excited because Sonic Mania Plus is finally out on Nintendo Switch. Need to check that out at some point. Yeah, boy.
Wow. Do you want to talk about Pokemon Go?
Oh, there's so much to talk about. It feels like we should just like call this podcast Heroes of Pokemon Go because we talk about it so much, but there's so much good stuff happening at the moment in Pokemon Go. You'll remember last year we had Pokemon Go Fest, which was a massive disaster last year because basically Niantic had no idea how to put on a big event and it failed miserably. There was no internet connection, there was no data, there's no Wi-Fi. People couldn't actually play the game. It was all a bit of a shambles, and there's that famous video that went around where everyone who attended, like I think it's the CEO of Niantic, got on stage and everyone booed him and was like chanting, "We can't play, and stuff like that. And they ended up having to refund everyone, and they had to give everyone the rare Pokemon because I think from Pokemon Go Fest last year, it was the first time a legendary Pokemon had been introduced, and the big incentive of going and taking part in Pokemon Go Fest is that you would get this rare legendary Pokemon if you completed some. I think you had to do missions or something. But in the end, they had to give everyone a legendary Pokemon for free because of all the issues they had. But this year, you may be surprised to hear that Pokemon Go Fest 2018 has happened. It was last weekend. And the reason why you might have missed it is because it happened and there was no issues whatsoever. It came, it went, and it seems that people were pretty damn satisfied with how it went. So in total, they're saying around 21,000 people turned up across the weekend. And this took place in Chicago's Lincoln Park. Brilliant. That's a cue for you to sing a song from Linkin Park, Chris.
I've come so far and tried so hard. In
Brilliant.
the end, and the me I'm mad. There you go.
Thank you very much. So an article appeared from Polygon, and it was from Allegra, which is a great name, Allegra Frank, who attended this year's Pokemon Go Fest and said it ran smoothly, and that is the general consensus across the board. Obviously, with the updates they've had recently, where you can now trade Pokemon, you can share gifts with people, you can, you've got all these missions from Professor Willow. Was it Professor Willow? Is his name? I think it's Willow. I always forget. It's not Oak, is it? It's like his baby brother or something. So there's more things that you can do now. But what they did, there was a rare legendary Pokemon. The aim of the game, the aim of being part of this Pokemon Go Fest is that you're looking to capture the rare legendary Pokemon Celebi. And to do that, you had to complete all the missions and quests, which are now part of the game. You get the daily ones when you spin Pokestops, and there's also the one where you can catch Mew. So they set up these missions which could be completed within a day. They gave everyone a map which showed them locations for certain Pokemon and where they had spawned and things like that. They had Wi-Fi running at the events, which was a bit choppy apparently, but they also had data. And from what I've heard, they actually brought in portable, I don't know what they're called, portable antennas, like mobile data pylons, to make sure they had enough for the whole event. And that ran smoothly. And it just seems like it was a good time. People seem to enjoy it. People caught this Pokemon. The only negative that I can see throughout the whole event is that there wasn't really, obviously, Pokemon Go is a very sociable game, going out and playing with your friends and things like that. Whereas last year, where they had all the issues, they were trying to split it into the different teams in Pokemon Go. That wasn't the case this year. It was pretty much a solo journey because it was up to you independently to do these different missions to be able to capture this legendary Pokemon. So you could obviously walk around with your friends and other groups of people, but at the end of the day, everyone had to catch their own legendary Pokemon. So it was a very more solo thing as well. And maybe that helped it run a bit smoother as well. But it's nice to hear that it went well. And because when this was going ahead, when this Pokemon Go Fest was happening, there was also missions and quests that were set for players around the world, and if certain things were met, bonuses would be unlocked. And at the moment, thanks to that, you may have noticed if you're playing Pokemon Go, it's double candy when you catch a Pokemon, which is really handy. And also the time it takes for eggs to hatch has been halved as well, which is really cool. And there is you get a rare candy every time you complete a raid. And I think there's something with Stardust as well. So that's really cool. And also this weekend, it's going to be Zapdos Day. So look out for that. If you haven't caught your Zapdos yet, they're going to be appearing in raid battles, and it's going to be very, very fun. So there's just so many things coming up in Pokemon Go. And we also got details about the new Community Day that's coming up for August. The previous Community Day was a couple of weeks ago now, and that was with Squirtle. And you could, if you evolved your Wartortle into a Blastoise, you got like a special ability. But the Pokemon that's going to be featured in the August Community Day is Eevee. And everyone loves Eevee because Eevee can evolve into 3 very powerful Pokemon. And Chris is going to list them to me right now.
Eevee can turn currently into Vaporeon, Flareon, Jolteon, Umbreon, Espeon, and then in Gen 4 they add Glaceon and Leafeon.
That's pretty
and
impressive.
Then Sylveon comes later on.
That's pretty impressive. Very
you,
impressive.
By the way, Colin.
Yes.
In Pokemon Go, you need to start picking up your presents better, because if we're going to build a friendship, you need to be doing this every day.
Look, the problem is, like, every time I open a gift, it gives me all these lovely items, but then I end up like having too much stuff in my rucksack, so I can't take any more.
Toss them.
I don't want to toss things. There's stuff I can't toss.
I don't care. We need to be. Send me. You can still send me gifts. I'll toss it. I'll toss everything you send. I'll toss until I can't stop tossing.
I do really like the whole sending gifts to people, though, and I like the extra XP you get when you reach a certain level. So that's really cool. It's a really nice feature. I do wish it had been added earlier, but what can you do? Another little thing before I go back to the whole Eevee Community Day. This is from the PokemonGoLive.com. They've listed which team caught the most Pokemon over the past month. And for the UK, Europe, and looks like South Africa and Africa and South America, Mystic was number 1. Second was Valor, and third was Instinct. So suck it, Instinct, because Mystic is the bomb. We always win. We're the best. Anyway, back to Community Day. So this is wow. So what's interesting about the August Community Day? It's fair enough. It's the same as usual. You got Eevee. If you evolve your Eevee during this period between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. British summertime, you'll get a evolved version, one of the free versions at the moment, where you get a special move. They haven't revealed what the exclusive move is yet, which is very cool. And also you get 3-hour lures and 3 times the catch Stardust as well. But what's interesting about this is that usually the Community Day is just for one day, which makes sense because it's called Community Day. But for this one, they're actually doing it across a whole weekend. So it's going to be the weekend of the 11th and 12th of August. And between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. on both days, you'll be able to do this. So that's really cool. And I like that they're pushing it across the weekend. So when it was the Charmander and Charizard's Community Day a couple of months ago, I saw so many people out, like dads with their kids and groups of friends, looking around for Charmanders to try and evolve their Charmeleon to get Charizard. So I'm hoping the fact they're extending it to 2 days will bring people out again. And it's just such a good time. It's a really good time to be playing Pokemon Go. If you used to play it and you decided to drop it, you should really get back into it, because there's so many reasons to do that now. There's so many incentives, side quests, these missions you can do, obviously trading and add friends, things like that, which is really nice. So yeah, it's just a great time to be a Pokemon Go fan, really. It's just nice.
It is
nice. So much happiness going on.
They are doing really well at keeping us playing as well, aren't they? And keeping us interested.
They're adding all the right things now. It seems like ever since Pokemon Go, Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu was announced, they really have stepped up their game, which I guess maybe whoever's developing those games has said, like, you need to step up your game. You've got to add these extra features if you want to be incorporated into our main Switch game. Either way, it's all good. It's all good for the player, and it's all very, very, very fun. And I just very quickly, going completely off topic, I've been playing an app on my phone this week called 2 Words with Susie Dent. Susie Dent is from, is it Word Corner, Dictionary Corner on Countdown?
Yeah.
And it's a word game where you get paired up with players from around the world or friends, and you both have to. You start with a word. It's like Scrabble, but rather than be a whole board, there's just 2 words at a time. You have one word that the other player has done, and you've got to try and make a word out of your letters and the words and the word they've done to try and get more points. It's a fun little word game. It's actually quite addictive. It's free. And it's just called 2 Words with Susie Dent. If you're looking for a new fix, then definitely check it out. Chris.
Oh,
Colin.
Colin.
I've not even mentioned YouTube Music. Oh, we'll save that for next week, maybe. It's not that important.
Yeah, it's probably not handheld gaming, is it? Can you quickly please tell me about pixel art thriller Stay?
Where do I begin with this, Chris? It was quite funny. Before we came on air, you were looking at the trailer for this, and you told me how many views did the trailer for Stay have?
12 or something.
How much is it?
12, I think.
12 views. Oh, brilliant. Anyway, so Stay, which is a pixel art thriller, is coming to PS Vita, Nintendo Switch, and PS4, but we don't care about that. It launched on Xbox One and PC earlier this year. I've got to try and pronounce this word. Oh no, it's Abnormals. Abnormals. It looked complicated, but it wasn't. It's Abnormals. Abnormals team developed pixel art for the Stay. It's coming to all those titles I said, and it's being released via the publisher P Cubed. And the PlayStation Vita publisher is Ratalaika Games. It's coming out this summer. It's been announced by those companies, and there's an overview here of the game. I'll quickly read the synopsis here. What would you do if a stranger's fate rested in your fingertips? And how would you cope if every second counted? Award-winning graphic adventure Stay asks those very questions. When Quinn wakes up alone in a locked room with nothing of note save for a computer hooked up to a chat room, you become his single ray of hope. Your choices and your timeliness will single-handedly shape his escape efforts or lead him down the path to an untimely end. So it looks like one of those games where the decisions you make will affect how the game plays out. So yeah, really interested to check this out. Looks a lot of fun. Looks very interesting. I think it's probably going to be a Switch, a game I'll play on Switch rather than PlayStation Vita.
Fair enough.
Likely. There you go. There you go. So I've got on that for you. And if you want to check out the video with no views, I'm sure my main man will put it in the article.
Well, I think that's everything. I saw you'd put anything about Amazon Prime Day. That's over now, but did you get anything good? Any goodies?
I know it's over, but I just wanted to mention the offers that were available. I didn't need to buy any goodies. So I've got my Switch. I'm really satisfied with my gaming options at the moment. Obviously, I've got my Xbox, but so many games I can play on my Switch as well. But there were a few offers on Prime Day, which was on Monday, I believe. Yeah, it was on Monday. So hopefully some of you picked those up. There's a lot of different offers here, discounts on games and packages as well. But yeah, if you were able to pick up some discounts through the Amazon store on Prime Day, let us know. heroesofhandheld@gmail.com. We'd love to know what you got from the discounts. And obviously these discounts have been happening across the world, not just in the UK. So if you're from America, Australia, any of these other countries, and you got a good deal on the Switch, let us know. We'd love to hear what you got. There you go.
Now, Colin.
Yes.
2 weeks ago, I set you the task of bringing this week's demo memo, and I want to know what you've been playing.
Well, I mentioned this 2 weeks ago, and the game I've been playing, or the demo I've been playing, is called Kid Trip. That's all one word. Well, it's strange because on the, when you got your Nintendo Switch and it shows you a little icon for the game, on the icon it says Kid Trip, all one word, but then the text above it says Kid Trip separately. So I don't know what to believe anymore. But it's basically a 16-bit side-scrolling platformer where you're a little man with a red cap. You're constantly running. You press a button to slow him down, but you've got to jump over obstacles like crabs and rivers and sharks and things like that and collect coins. It's very addictive. You can play 2 levels in the demo, and that might not sound like much, but it's one of those games where you'll constantly die. You're dying constantly. It's very trial and error in a way because you're constantly running. You can't ever stop. So sometimes you need to go through a level to find out where all the obstacles are, and then you can fully tackle it head on. But it's actually quite addictive. We've seen games like this before, these sort of platformers. I think the gimmick with it and what makes it a bit different is the fact that you're constantly running and you can't stop, you can only slow yourself down. The only options you have is to slow yourself down or jump. And sometimes you have to combine all of those to really get past a sticky space. It gave me about an hour of enjoyment, but I've not gone back to it in a few days, or about a week actually. So it's only a couple of quid on the store. It's called Kid Trip. If you're looking for just a small game that will take up a bit of your time, and you're looking for a new little indie game you've not played before, then this is probably the one for you. But yeah, there's other options out there. But it was all right. It was okay. It was okay.
Sounds high praise indeed. I'll have a look on the store and see what to play for next week's demo memo, which I'll be doing. Don't worry, I'll be doing that.
Do it, yeah. Yeah, I have every faith in you, Chris.
Yeah, I'll be on that, don't worry.
We should play Fortnite at some point.
Yeah, I'll add. What? Are you willing to go public on your username?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's this confusing thing. I don't really know. Do you mean username? Because I'm not really in tune with Nintendo and how it all works. Do you mean my username on Nintendo or my username on Fortnite?
Your username on Fortnite.
I don't actually know what it is. I assume it's the same one I use for most things. Enter Cole. I actually don't know. That's a good point.
I'll have a look.
Check that. Have a look. Have a gander. See who I am.
And you can have me by searching for Chris Pears, all one word.
At least it's not what Falcon Brunch. It's not getting to that. The Falcon Brunch makes so much sense. Anyway, is that it? Are we done?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. We're experimenting with the format on the blog where I put all the articles and stuff up. So do let us know if you have any feedback on that. If you want to get in touch with the show, heroesofhandheld@gmail.com on email, @Handheld Podcast on Twitter. You can also find us on Facebook by searching Heroes of Handheld, or go to heroesofhandheld.wordpress.com, and there's a contact box there as well that goes straight to our inboxes. Next week's show will be a little earlier than normal. I think we're going to put it out on Monday.
Yeah, we'll record on Monday and then we'll put it up straight away.
Yeah, so I look forward to speaking to you then. Colin, it's been a pleasure.
It's been absolutely magical. Chris, thank you so much for being you. Never change.
Thank you for being you. Sorry that it's not coming home, but maybe in a couple of years' time.
2 years' time it will come home. And then we can we can dust off. Do you think when we get to Euro 2020, do you reckon they'll record a new version of It's Coming Home after the success this year?
Right. I've seen on Twitter circulating that the next World Cup is at Christmas time. And that we're going to get It's Coming Home across with Chris Ria's driving home for Christmas.
Oh, I'm ready for that. My body is ready for this.
Genuinely, I was very surprised there wasn't a version this year with all the memes. But yeah, I think Euro 2020, I think we might get one.
I think that's because the fact England did so well took so many people by surprise, and by the time we were actually doing well, it was too late to record it. Because I remember years gone by, there used to be loads of football songs that came out. Well, there
used to always be an official one, didn't there? Was the last one the Dizzy Rascal and James Corden one?
Oh, maybe. I'm not sure. I know we had one from Embrace years ago, which was like, "With the world at your feet, there's no one we can beat." That was crap.
That was really Embrace was rubbish.
Embrace, they had that one song that everyone liked. It's called Nature's Law, wasn't it? You can't do Nature's Law. They were like that era where there were so many rubbish Britpop bands that came out.
They were the Snow Patrol editors era, weren't they? The National.
Oh, who can forget the Hoosiers as well? That whole vibe.
I'm starting to worry about Ray.
Fun fact for you, I saw the Hoosiers live in the prime of their popularity, and they were awful. They were so bad. They only had 10 songs or whatever, and they're just really bad. They sounded awful. It was boring.
They do Cops and Robbers! Cops and Robbers!
Let me catch criminal. Let me catch criminal. Oh. What about what's the other? Oh, Goodbye, Mr. A.
Oh yeah.
That was a good one as well. What a killer album. All killer, no filler. Anyway, thank you for listening, everybody. We'll be back next week at a different time in a different place, but we'll still be back next week. I've just noticed that I'm slowly seeping into darkness here. So I need to turn the light on. But then all the moths will come in. I just can't win. Thank you for listening. If you want to email us, heroesofhandheld@gmail.com. We're on Twitter at Handheld Podcast. We're on Facebook. We're on iTunes. Just search Heroes of Handheld. We'd love to hear from you. If you've got any thoughts, anything we've discussed, or if you bought anything during the Prime sale, gaming wise, we'd love to hear from you. You can go to heroesofhandheld.wordpress.com and go to the contact us button. Or if you go to the website there, you can find all our previous episodes going all the way back to 2014, I think. Something like that. So why not start from the beginning and listen to every single one? That'd be great.
Go right back to Welcome to the World of Handheld, or whatever it's called.
Well, welcome to the world of handheld gaming. Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, back when we did it in an actual professional radio studio. Good times.
Good times.
Anyway,
Anyway,
thank you for listening, everybody. Bye.
Bye.